Hello, gorgeous people. I hope you are doing okay. I'm so sorry, I'm just laughing at myself because I have myself on mute, but I am now with you. So say hello, tell me how you're doing today. Oh, I can see a few of you have said hello already. Lovely to have you here. I hope you really enjoyed yesterday and today I've got lots more for you, and in fact I'm wondering whether I may be trying to cover too much, so we'll see how we get on. We can always, play about with the schedule for the week. Hayley, you have such a stiff sore back, but happy to be here. Oh, lovely. I'm so sorry to hear that. Make sure you use lots of cushions for our time together today. Hi Marion, oh, you're looking forward to today, fabulous. Dawn, lovely to have you here. Lynn, Hayley, I've probably missed people, I'm so sorry, but the comments come in so quick that they just fly by, so I'm so sorry if I haven't said your name. Hi Melanie, hi Claire. Oh, you've just given a remote Reiki and it's flowing well, I love it. Beautiful. So, a bit of housekeeping then, a bit of a reminder. So this week, if you like the videos or love the videos, give them a little comment like you're doing already, and put something in the post that I post every day that says, what's your biggest takeaway from today? Then your names will go into a hat for a competition's the wrong word, a prize giveaway. So I can reward you for showing up and for committing to your practice, because that's what it's all about. Hayley, you have pillows and cushions all around you on the bed. Fabulous. I'm so glad to hear it, honey. So, was there anything else I needed to tell you? Yes. Don't forget about the mini retreat on Monday. Can you hear next door's dog? He's a little bit, he gets a little bit excited when the postman comes around, bless him. Perhaps he just wants to join in. Perhaps he's just joining us. So we've got the mini retreat happening next Monday. That's happening via Zoom, so you need to sign up separately if you haven't already. Only 100 spaces on that, still completely free, but the link is in the group. So if you want to join us for that, then or receive the recording, then you need to sign up on that separate link, just because it's via Zoom. So I couldn't think of another way of doing it. I'm sure there is. It's probably me just being not very technically minded. Louise, you're in the beauty room at work. I love it, making the most of it. And tomorrow, for those of you that love this week and who love the practice that they're forming, but know that they're going to need some support with it, then I've got something to share with you as promised. But I'll be going into that a little bit tomorrow. So today, I wanted to cover with you our concept of time and self-worth when it comes to our meditation practice. Janet, lovely to have you here. Oh, you're so welcome, lovely. It's such a pleasure. I love doing this. So today we will be looking at the concept of time and its relationship with our self-worth. And I really thought it was important to cover this because I will often hear clients say, oh, I didn't have the time, or I don't have the time, or I ran out of time. And I get it, life is busy. Like I say, my life is very busy. I have lots of things on the go. But realistically, we have 24 hours in a day. And yes, some of that is taken up with sleep, some of that is taken up with eating, some of that is taken up with work, some of that is taken up with parenting or caring responsibilities. But there's always time for you. And if there isn't, then you need to reevaluate things. Because realistically, if you're saying there's not enough time, what you're really saying, whether consciously or unconsciously, is I'm not valuing this thing. So in this case, meditation. And hopefully from your experience yesterday, you are valuing it and you are realising that it is certainly something that you should be working on. Oh, Melanie said there's a bad connection and you can't hear me. Is anyone else having problems before I dive in properly? Can you give me a little thumbs up? Let me know that you can hear me okay if you can, or let me know if not. Because my signal seems to be okay, so I'm hoping it's okay. You're good. Okay. Fingers crossed, we're okay. Okay, cool. So realistically, if you're saying to yourself, I don't have the time, or I couldn't find the time, you're consciously or unconsciously saying one of two things. Either you don't value the thing that you're trying to find time for, so in this case meditation, or you're saying I'm not valuing myself. I'm not valuing that my needs are worthy of this time. And this was something that I struggled with for a really long time at the beginning of my practice. I feel like this is just a week of me storytelling about my life. It's my bibliography. No, it's not bibliography, is it? What is it? Biography. So, when I was first forming my practice, I had this real thing with guilt. Taking that time for myself when I should be working, I should be cleaning the house, I should be looking after the kids, I should be being a partner, and this whole long list. This long list we put on ourselves of all these things we should be doing and should be. And it's something that I've had to really work through the years, and it started way before my meditation practice. And generally these things, these ideas, these stories start from a really young age. So we're brought up believing this is what a mother is, or this is what a mother does, or this is what a good mother or good wife looks like. And then those stories are reinforced through our education, through the films we watch, through the books we read. And it's kind of drummed into us. And then these kind of stereotypes stay with us, and we feel like that's what we should embody all the time. We should be, this selfless being. And this used to show up for me in lots of different ways. And I'll talk you through that just because it'd be interesting to see if anyone can resonate with this. If anyone, it might give you a bit of an aha moment of, oh my gosh, I do that. So I was, my first marriage, we were together for 10 years. And realistically, it wasn't a healthy relationship at all. And I took on this role of trying to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother, and would make sure that all my time was filled taking care of everyone else's needs. And in my head, I thought this was a really good thing. I was being a good mum. I was being a good wife. And then this illusion was shattered when my marriage broke down. And all of a sudden I had this real light bulb moment of, throughout those 10 years, and I'm not saying this in terms of from a sympathy point of view, this is pure observation. During those 10 years, I had taken it upon myself to put the other person in that relationship first. I hadn't done the things I wanted to do. I would feel guilty even spending money on myself. I would feel guilty about doing anything that I wanted to do. So generally I wouldn't, because if I did, I ended up feeling bad, I ended up feeling guilty, and it felt uncomfortable, and I didn't really enjoy it. And I can remember when this marriage broke down, I was like, oh my gosh, it dawned on me what I'd been doing. It hadn't been a conscious effort. It had literally been something that I had just fallen into the habit of. And so I kind of thought, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not living my life according to putting my life in the hands of someone else, which is basically what I'd done. My happiness in the hands of someone else, because it's not fair on me and it wasn't fair on them. I was being a martyr. And I wasn't happy because I was putting their needs above my own. And so, like I say, I had this aha moment when the marriage broke down. I thought, oh my God, I've been doing this for years. What was I thinking? And so I started working through that, and I made a conscious effort when I went into my next relationship that I wasn't going to do that. And, my needs I was going to prioritise, because I could see from my previous marriage that it hadn't served either of us. And if anything, it had contributed to the marriage breaking down. And so I thought, oh, okay, I've got past this. Big win, move forward, evolved. And then when I became ill, I had realised that I had transferred that kind of need for validation from my relationship onto my job, onto my career. So what I'd been doing is doing everything for everyone at work. If there was a project that needed doing, I would volunteer. If there was something to get involved in, I would do it. And I had taken on far too much. I was travelling too much. I was working too much. And it wasn't until I became ill and I could see my body just really wasn't in a good place that I had this kind of, again, light bulb moment. Oh my God, I have literally done the same thing, but in my job. I had transferred my need for validation from my partner, from my kids, over to my job, over to my manager, over to my colleagues. This constant seeking validation externally to feel worthy. So I had to make a new decision. I had to make a new choice. I knew that wasn't serving me. It wasn't serving the people around me. It wasn't serving my health. My body was really not happy at the time. And I had to make some new choices. I had to become more comfortable with boundaries. I had to become more comfortable with saying no. But I also had to become more comfortable with saying yes to the things that I wanted, to where I spent my time on me. And not because it was things that I felt I should be doing. So I had been doing things that I thought I should be doing. I had been going to the gym, despite the fact I hated it, but told myself I should do it. I had, been going running, and I hated running. Honestly, I hated it. But told myself I should be doing it. So these days, the word should, I'm very careful with, and I try not to put it in my vocabulary when talking about things that I'm doing. I do things because I choose them. I choose to do my meditation. I choose to take that time for myself every day. And not because I should, and not because, it's good for me or these stories, but because I'm worthy of that time. What I realised is self-worth is not something that we just have. It's a muscle that's built through our actions. If you want to feel real I can't talk today, self-worth, then you have to set the tone for that. You have to set the tone and show yourself through your actions. So let me know if this is resonating. I'm going to have a look at the comments while you type in your thoughts. Yeah, Sarah's been there. I'm not sure I'm going to say your name right. Murray, is that how I'm saying it? Murray, is that right? Until we flip the script. Yes, very true. Louise, that was you. Mariam, we've all done it. Always put people before you. It's draining, isn't it, Dawn? Oh, Melanie, I'm so sorry it's not working for you today, lovely. Hayley, we are raised to think self-care is selfish, so we feel guilty for it. We have to recognise what we need and take care of ourselves, or we aren't going to reach our potential. When we love and care for ourselves, we can truly love others. And that is so true. And we will go into that in a little bit. Janet, totally resonating. The word should is very common in your vocabulary. I can't see who said that. Let me have a look. Catherine. Words are powerful. Our self-talk. Yes. So this is... And it's one of the things that when I'm working with clients, whether that's in a training program or one-to-one or in a wider group or in my free stuff, understanding our worth has to be central to all of this. Because if you don't feel like you're worthy of your time, you will find every excuse in the world not to do the things to take care of you. And like I say, it gets easier. The more you choose to, the more it becomes natural. And the more you will realise the only person that was holding you back from doing that was you. And you will also notice that as your why am I struggling with that word? Self-worth improves. You get more respect back. People reflect it back to you. The world is a mirror. And the more you value yourself, the more people will reflect that back at you. So yeah. One of the things with our worth is it's very linked to our sense of identity. Now, this was a concept that seemed very foreign to me initially, so I'd love to know how this lands. But we tend to believe that our identity is this fixed state, that we are this, we're this person. And we attach all these different labels to that. So I'm this kind of person. It might be I'm organised, I'm chaotic, I'm creative, whatever it is for you. And then we tend to play out that story. And through my growth journey, really, and through my meditation practice, I've realised that those labels are not a fixed thing. They can change. We can choose different beliefs about ourselves. We can establish new patterns of behaviour. And with that, our identity shifts. Dawn, you hate labels, restricts thinking. So true, but a lot of the time we do it unconsciously. Like I say, with the label of mother, in my head I'd stuck the label of mother onto my identity and thought it meant that I had to deny all of my needs, put all of my kids' needs first. I had to be this kind of perfection of a 1950s housewife. But in truth, that wasn't who I was. And so I want to take you through a bit of an exercise to help you start thinking about where you might be playing a role in your life, and for you to understand the potential downside of that role, and for you to perhaps choose again. Choose a different part of you. Because within us, we have a number of different archetypes, a number of different parts that we can step into. So I'll run through some of those now, and let me know as I'm talking them through. You may want a pen and paper for this. You may want to note these down, because it's quite an interesting thing to come back to at a later date to see if they change. Because they will. And at different times of your life, and at different times in your circumstance, you will find yourself attaching to some of these archetypes more than others. So, and in fact, what I'm going to say is there's thousands of archetypes, and this is just a tiny percentage. But I just want you to notice, actually there's a couple of things I want you to notice. One, which of these feels like you? Bearing in mind we have all of them within us. But two, which ones don't you like? Because that can also give you a lot of wisdom into either where you're pushing away parts of yourself, or where you may need to lean into more. And this will make more sense as I go through them. So the innocent. The innocent is seeking safety. They tend to look on the bright side, be maybe even in a bit of a dream world. So this, in its most positive state, is being extremely optimistic, always seeing the good in people. In its shadow side, it can be naivety, not seeing risk, not seeing danger, putting others at risk through their naivety. So that's number one, the innocent. Number two, the sage. So the sage is always seeking knowledge. So in their lightest form, in their most positive form, they are the best researchers. They can find out everything that you could ever possibly want to know. If someone asked them about something, they will do a deep dive into it and find out all the different elements of it and where it came from, and everything you could possibly want to know about that subject. A real deep dive. In its shadow form, they tend to not do anything with that knowledge. So they may be very good at accumulating all this knowledge, but there's no action. So that's number 2, the sage. Number 3, the explorer. So the explorer is driven by freedom, wanting to explore new places, see new things, find out more new information. I always think of the energy is very up here with the explorer, almost quite creative, kind of, I want to be out there. But in its shadow form, they can be very aimless. There's no goal, there's no direction. It's just a bit here and a bit there and a bit here. So that was number 3, the explorer. Number 4, the rebel. And the rebel is interested in righting wrongs, in fighting injustice, in creating something better. In its shadow form, it can be destructive. It can even be criminal. It can lead to darkness, almost become a bit obsessed with the outcome they're seeking, that they lose sight of everything around them. Then we have the magician. The magician is all about influencing, manifesting, having that power. Yet, in its shadow form, it can be manipulative. It can be misleading. I always think of, that sounds really dark, but if you think about things like cult leaders, the shadow form of the magician would be that kind of addiction to the power. Hero. So we're now on, I should have numbered these, 6. The hero is interested in mastery, whatever that is. So whether it's a particular skill or playing the hero for other people. What they're most scared of is being seen as a coward or being afraid. But this can lead to the shadow side of arrogance, creating a battle where there doesn't need to be one. On to number 7. So the archetype of the lover. And what they're interested in is creating intimacy. And that doesn't necessarily have to be on a sexual level. That can be intimacy with everyone. So intimacy in terms of the conversations that they have with people on a day-to-day basis. And what they're really craving is that connection, that true connection. But they can fall into the shadow side of just wanting to be there to please people. forgetting of their own pleasures, forgetting of their own needs, and just be a people pleaser. I'm terrible at keeping track of numbers, aren't I? 8, I think we're on number 8, is the jester. Now, the jester is interested in enjoyment and pleasure, and having fun, seeing the lighter side of life. But in its most destructive shadow form, it can lead to things like addiction, pleasure seeking at the cost of everything else. Then we move on to the everyman or everywoman. Strange title. And they're interested in belonging. So they will do whatever they can to fit in, to not rock the social boat, to be accepted. And this can mean that they completely lose their sense of self. They forget who they are. They forget what inspires them. They forget what drives them. They forget what they're passionate about. Then we have the caregiver. I'm sure you'll start to notice some of these coming up in some of the things that I was saying to you about my story. But the caregiver is interested in service, serving everyone, being of service to the world, to the people in their lives. And the flip side of this, or the shadow side, is they can become the martyr. They can feel like they're not appreciated because they're putting this huge pressure on everyone around them to validate them, to tell them they're worthy. Then we come to the ruler. And the ruler in its lightest form is I want to use the word sovereign, that kind of, they're worried about the good of all. So they're willing to make the tough decisions as long as it's in the interest for the good of everyone. But in its shadow form, this can be being a dictator. This can be clinging on to that power even when their services are no longer needed. And then we come to the final one, which is the artist. And the artist is interested in creating the new, being innovative, being inspired and bringing that to life. And in its most shadow form, can be perfectionism, can be stilted. I often think of like writer's block here, where they can be so concerned that the outcome isn't going to be what they want and as amazing as they want, that they halt themselves and stop themselves from doing what it is that they want to do. So just taking a moment to really consider these archetypes in terms of, like I say, we have all of them within us. We can lean into different elements of these according to what's going to serve us. The problem is sometimes we can get so attached to being one of these archetypes that we fall into the shadow side. So for example, in the story I gave around my meditation practice, I was leaning so heavily into the caregiver aspect that I'd completely gone into being the martyr. I would have feelings of resentment that I wouldn't acknowledge, and so would bubble under the surface, and then would probably come out in ways that weren't helpful, let alone attractive. So I want you to think about these as well in terms of your meditation practice. Is the archetype that you've been perhaps playing out, perhaps one you've been leaning into more, serving you in terms of creating a practice that's going to help and support you going forward? Or might it be sabotaging you? Because the thing is, we get to choose. You get to choose your sense of identity. You get to choose who you are. No one else can choose that for you. And with that, you get to choose your level of worth. You govern that. You tell people what you're worthy of receiving. You tell people through your actions towards yourself and in talking with others the respect that you deserve. And once you start giving yourself that level of respect, making that time to do the things that are important for you, for the things that will serve you, you will see that ripple out into the rest of your life. Sarah, you can definitely relate to a bit of all of them. Yeah, me too, lovely. And you know, sometimes looking at this, there's parts that I didn't want to see. So for example, I know I can fall into the innocent. I've always been, you know, quite happy and, you know, in my own little world. I once had my signature analysed. My friend was doing a signature analysis course, and that revealed that I live in my own little world. A lot of the time it's a really lovely place to be though. But it also means I can be very naive around the intentions of others. And with that comes additional risk to the people around me. And that wasn't something I wanted to see. I wanted to believe I was this strong, capable woman that was, you know, really switched on, which I can be. But a lot of the time when it came to people, I would only see the good. And that really serves me, you know, especially in the work that I do, that really serves me. Because I haven't met a person yet that I can't see the good in. I'm sure there's a few out there. However, I had to take responsibility for that, and I had to start setting boundaries around that. Janet, I have elements of all of these, but the negative sides I can say I've cultivated the sage, the lover, the caregiver, and the artist. Well done for your honesty, lovely. The sage, the caregiver, the artist, the lover. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how there's particular patterns that we that a lot of us share in this group. Sarah, I still struggle after domestic abuse, so I see the explorer wanting to be free, find new things, but I still struggle with finding them now. So yes, there are things we don't want to see, but I'm working on it all and setting small goals. Fabulous, lovely. Sending you so much love. And that's such a tough situation to be in, and you have come out the other side of it, and how fantastic is that? I believe that the darkest times can show us the unbelievable strength that lies within. So I am sending you so much love. And you are worth so much, is what I want to say to you. Sending you so much love, hon. Okay. So today, I want you to start thinking about your level of self-worth, realising that actually the only person in control of that is you, and you get to choose again. And the more you choose to honour what you want to do, who you want to be, how you want to show up, the things you want in your life, the more that will grow, the more it will feel real, the more you won't even have to think about working on your level of self-worth, because your actions will show that's already there, and it just becomes normal. So something to play with. And all of you will have varying elements of this depending on what you've been through, what you were told as a child, what environment you grew up in, what relationships you've had. But also how much work you've done on this. So how much work you've done on your mindset, how much you are willing to make a different choice and to take the actions that reinforce that choice. So, wow, we've been going for like over 40 minutes. So let's get into meditation. So let's take a moment, get comfy, get cozy, get your nest ready. And we'll be finishing with a bit of an oracle card pull again afterwards, but for now, get yourself comfy. And we're going to be doing a meditation which I tend to call on when I'm in need of a massage and can't get to my masseuse immediately. So this is a lovely one to do if you're in need of a bit of self-care and reminding yourself how worthy you are. So take a moment and close your eyes. And again, we're just going to start by connecting with the breath and the belly. Again, just noticing how is that rhythm for you today. Is it fast or slow? Steady or dancing around? Does it feel smooth, or is there more texture today? Does it feel more jittery, more stilted? And we're not trying to change it in any way, we're just accepting it for whatever it is in this moment. And I want you to imagine now that on top of your head is a bar of ointment. And the heat of your head begins to melt this bar, turning it into a beautiful oil that begins to move not only over your body, but through your body, seeping through the mind, releasing any tension as it goes. Around the head and over the brow. just makes any tightness disappear. Seeping into the muscles around the eyes, soothing and relaxing them. Gently moving through the cheekbones and the jaw, letting go of any tension, nourishing as it goes. Moving through the neck and into the shoulders. You may notice that they drop away from the ears. Nourishing all the muscles around the shoulder blades. Letting go of anything you've been carrying. Moving through the arms, nourishing all the joints. Into the lower arms. And the wrists and the hands. Letting go of anything that's sore. Removing any inflammation. Easing now through the rib cage and the tummy. Moving on down into the pelvis and the hip joints. Nourishing the thighs, all the muscles, all the bones. Begin to ease and into the knees. Releasing any pain that you've been experiencing, cooling down any redness. This beautiful nourishing oil moves through into the calves, nourishing the shins, into the ankles and the feet and the toes. I'm going to leave you to do one more round of this in your own time, starting again at the top of the head, allowing you to self-guide this experience through the body at your own pace. And if at any time you get distracted, that's fine. Just come back to wherever you were in the body. maybe paying particular attention to any areas of discomfort that feel like they need a bit more of this nourishing oil. And if you haven't already, imagine this oil moving from the hip joints down through the legs, nourishing the knees and the calves and the ankles into the feet. And again, putting your hands to your heart space, wherever that feels good for you. And taking a moment to thank yourself for this time, for this space. And then perhaps sending love and gratitude out to the other gorgeous people that have shared this experience with you. And notice how their love and gratitude flows into you as well. And as and when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes, coming back to the outside world. Okay, lovelies. How did you find that one? Let me know. And while you're doing that, I will pull us a card to end our session today. Oh, I always feel lovely and nourished up after one of those meditations. This meditation was one that I learned from a Zen master, soft ointment meditation, and it was used by, or as the story goes, by a monk who had been doing some extreme kind of aspects of Buddhism in terms of, or not necessarily Buddhism, which is more the middle way, but he'd been basically meditating up in a cave, got very undernourished on his search for spiritual enlightenment. And he came across a hermit who taught him this and another couple of practices. So yeah, beautiful. Janet, can you keep me? Yes, you can. Love it. Oh, amazing. Louise, you absolutely lovely, soothing. So relaxing. Dawn, it highlighted your stress areas. We all have them, lovely, don't worry. So soothing. The postie came, Amelia, and nearly gave you a heart attack. Oh, I love it. Oh, I'm so pleased. And it's amazing, isn't it? I can remember when I found meditation, I think I'd had this concept prior to this that you had to go to like a spa or something to get this level of indulgence and relaxation. But the truth is, it's in your head. You can do it in your head at any time you want. I even have a friend who takes a quick toilet break at work when it's all getting a bit stressful to do a bit of meditation so she can come back as her highest version. So yeah, anytime you need it, it's there. So your card for today is study. Study of the self, I wonder. My eyes always water after meditation. So, you're engaged in learning and study right now. We are. Your angels guide you to take time to read, listen, and grow. This card validates that it's an important time for you to learn new ideas or skills. Perhaps you feel guided to enroll in a class, and this card confirms that feeling. If you're currently attending school, the angels ask you to continue. Sometimes when we are in a learning phase of our life, we can become anxious to test our new knowledge. Instead of learning, we want to apply what we've learned. However, timing is everything. And I've just lost where I was. And this card guides you not to rush into action. Instead, enjoy the process of learning. The growth that accompanies an educational experience is enjoyable if we remind ourselves to stay focused on the here and now. Wonderful. And as always, the cards are backing us up. So, Sarah, my cat, climbed onto me during meditation and was purring so loudly. Yeah, we will often find, and I used to have or do weekly meditations in a membership space. And we would often find that the four-legged friends would join us all the time. They always wanted to be a part of the meditation. And love to be involved. So I think animals pick up on this more than we do. They all sense your energy relaxing and want to be a part of it. So, thank you for joining me here today. I so hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have taken something from it in terms of considering your level of self-worth and whether your actions really back up the level of self-worth that you want to feel. And if not, where can you make some changes? Where might you need to shift your identity a bit? Where may you need to take a bit more ownership sometimes? That was certainly my case, in my case. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, where again we'll be diving into a completely different meditation. Like I say, my intention is to give you a whole range of ones so that you can figure out what feels good for you. And we will also dive into, at some point in the week, what meditations you might want to draw on to do different things energetically. I won't go into that too much now, but sometimes the trick with meditation is knowing which meditation to use when. So yeah, I will go into that a bit more later in the week. So it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for being here, for giving yourself this time. I'm seeing all your lovely comments. I'm feeling the love, so thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, 12 o'clock. See you then.